Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Leadership Simplified. My name is Rushil Rungta, and I'm a student at Temasek Primary School. As the head prefect of my school currently, I'm always looking for ways to improve my leadership skills. Hence, Leadership Simplified is my attempt to chat with leaders from different walks of life and learn from their experiences. Today, I will be interviewing Mr. Wai Mun, founder, CEO, and chairman of Dr. Anywhere. Founded in 2015, Dr. Anywhere is a local telehealth startup that allows users to consult a local doctor on demand anytime, anywhere, and through video consultations on the app. Medications can also be delivered to their doorsteps within hours. Dr. Anywhere currently has operations in 5 Southeast Asian countries, including Singapore. Welcome, Mr. Lim. How are you today?
Hi, Rushil. Thank you for that very high energy introduction of Dr. Anywhere, or DA in short, we call here. My name is Wai Mun. Last name is Lim, as you rightfully pointed out. I'm great today. Thank you so much for reaching out to us and giving us this very good opportunity to introduce ourselves to very energetic bunch of students like yourself, right? So let's get going. I'm sure you have a few questions that you have for me. We can just.
It's my pleasure, Mr. Lim. So let me begin with my questions. So when reading about Dr. Anywhere, the first question that came to my mind is, why didn't any doctor think about starting this? What is your opinion?
That's a very good question, Rushil. And it's a very difficult first question that you're asking me. There's no warm-up here, right? I do think that doctors, medical professionals, a lot of them would have thought about it, right? If you look at the space that we are in, we have got 3 different stakeholders within our ecosystem. You have the medical professionals, you have the payer, which is pretty much your insurers, right, or your government. And the last group of people in the healthcare space are the consumers. So I come from that angle, the perspective of a consumer, but there are also, definitely other doctors who play an equally important role within the healthcare system, the healthcare ecosystem, and they would have thought about it as well. It's just a different way of expressing this product and services to different stakeholders within the ecosystem.
That is a valid point. I think any startup generally needs different people so that it can succeed. But just I wanted to say that, I used to always think that I should stick to my line of study. But now hearing about your company, I feel, keeping an open mind is important.
Yes, absolutely. And I would also, perhaps use this opportunity, right, to really, encourage people, students at your age, your generation, to think bigger. Don't be confined by what you have learned yesterday. Expand your horizon to what you can learn today and tomorrow.
Right, I completely agree.
Yes, and just to back up this statement of mine, I was trained as an engineer, right? So I graduated from National University of Singapore, NUS. I studied engineering, mechanical engineering. My first job, after I graduated, I was actually doing investments. So more towards a banking and finance kind of sector. And there I learned a lot more about banking and finance, right? And this is also pretty much the first time I am in the healthcare space, and it's the first time I'm learning how to operate a company as well. And I want to choose and emphasize on the word learning, because indeed I am also learning every single day, right? So there is no boundary to how much you can learn, and hence it's very extremely important to understand that for your generation of students, where you are today, do not be bounded by what you were learning yesterday.
Yes, very meaningful. I think that has inspired me that there is no limits to what one can learn, and we shouldn't just keep ourselves limited and try and learn different things.
Exactly.
Now, on to my second question. Did you know that we have something in common? That you worked for Temasek and I study in Temasek Primary School.
Yes.
Yes. And I read a comment in one of your interviews that at Temasek you were encouraged to give back. Can you tell me more about this and how it led to what you do today?
Yeah, so at Temasek, we have a very, and I'm using the word we because every organization that I've been to, I always associate myself with them very closely, very dearly, even after I leave them. And at Temasek, it's an extremely well-meaning organization. At the leadership level, there is always a lot of emphasis on being a trailblazer in many different aspects. And one of it that I personally have always been very inspired and very impressed with is that perspective of paying it forward, doing something meaningful, and while we are doing what we are, while we are immersing in what we are very busy with on a daily basis, right? Do not forget that there are people out there who might need our help, and I would even go further to say that we need help from. Why do we need help from, right? Because we are always in our world, we are always burdened with worries, right? As you grow up, you know this, right? We always worry about something in life, always, right? Your parents, especially, right? And as you grow older, your siblings. But the way we then also look to paying it forward is we also look at how people have what we don't have, in a sense, right? And it's that process of giving back to society that you realize that yes, we might have more than other people in some aspects, but we also have less than other people in the other aspects. And how do we find a balance within that ourselves? It's very, very important to then go back to the conversation of how can we now contribute back to society and pay it forward. In short, my experience with Temasek when we were doing some events, distributing lunch boxes, and there was a time that I also realized that there were people in Singapore, right, even in a very developed world like ours, did not have access to simple primary care. And that was how it prompted me to, in a way, had a discussion and try to come up with something. But again, right, as with all startups, you will realize as you talk to more of them, the initial idea will always be morphed into something that is different, or if not bigger, right, in a sense, from the initial idea.
Right. I think now I've also realized that appreciating the community, what they do for us, and then trying to give back is very vital. When yes, it's very important basically. And I just would like to say here that it really seems like the name Temasek has some magic, because even my school really stresses on giving back to the community. And I've been part of many such events and programs. Like there was one recently where we were working on for support staff. And then we also do things for the community, the residents living in the HDB block near our school. So I think we do have something in common.
And what do you feel? And when I say you, I really mean yourself as well as your fellow students, right? Your friends. What do you feel whenever you finish a project?
I think I feel a bit proud that I've done something good for someone else, because I always have this belief that, I like to say it, the world is round, so what you do will always come back to you. But then again, I have realized over time that when I do something good for the community, I shouldn't expect something back. So through that belief, I always enjoy doing things for the community. Like, for example, in school, during Chinese New Year, we actually gave out some goodies in bags to the HDB residents. And then there is this startup called Food Bank. I don't know if you've heard of it. Oh, all right. And we distributed some food bags to the elderly. So I feel proud and happy that I've at least played a part in the development of our country. So yeah, so
Good.
I just feel proud of myself.
And I think this type of feeling shouldn't just be with you, right? I would almost would love, right, to be for you and your friends, your school, to be an ambassador of
Yes.
carrying that feeling to other schools, to other fellow Singaporeans of your generation as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
So now on to my third question. In school, we are taught to have the courage to take the first step and not to be afraid to stand out from the rest. Were you confident or were you nervous when you took the first step towards Doctor Anywhere? Did you ever feel like this is new technology and it might not be possible?
Well, maybe let's just say that technology has never, always been my right hand, right? It's probably a left hand for me, right? Meaning that I use it every day, but not, in a more awkward manner. So it's not instinctive to me. Now, it goes back to what I mentioned earlier on during our session, right? Which is it's all about the attitude towards learning, right? Nervous or not, confident or not, is actually a byproduct. It's an output of how you perceive things and what is your attitude towards certain principle in life, right? Now, if I were to approach getting DA up and running from this is, I have to win, right? Then I guess I would be very nervous, right? But if I were to look at it, and that was how I looked at it, right? Which is, I see it more of, okay, what, I'm here to learn something new. I'm here, and I absolutely do see a positive impact that I can have on people's life in general.
Right.
Providing accessibility to quality, affordable healthcare in a sense. Then I think I wouldn't be as nervous, right? And that was truly how I felt, because my fundamental belief was that we are no better than anyone else. Everyone is trying to trailblaze. Everyone is trying to learn something new every day, right? It's who can learn the fastest, to be able to run the furthest and the fastest as well, right? So when you approach with that kind of mentality, obviously everybody also, in a way, quote unquote, wants to win, right? But underlying that, what is the fundamental principle that people want to go after? That will determine how successful or or slash confident, or not successful in a way, very nervous, and every day there is implosion, right? So yeah, to answer your question more directly, with the mentality that I had back then, and I still had it today, which is every day I'm learning, then no, I've never been nervous, because I've never seen myself as knowing everything. Right? Nobody in the world knows everything. Nobody.
Yes.
Right? Including myself, including yourself. Nobody would. But we must learn to be humble enough to know that we need to learn.
Yes, definitely. But really, this is incredible, Mr. Wai Mun, because I now learned to perceive things differently and not think, I have to do this well and then end up feeling nervous. And your confidence is something for me to learn from, because I still get butterflies in the stomach when I attempt something different. So I think now I have to see things differently, and then I think my nervousness will slowly get away.
Yes, exactly. So different perspective at the start will lead to different results.
Yes, definitely. Now on to my fourth question. You started Doctor Anywhere in 2015 when telemedicine wasn't conventional. At that time, I've read that it is important to think out of the box and dream big. However, I often wonder, what if my unconventional thinking may be impossible or a crazy idea? How do I judge what is possible and what is not?
That's another good, but I would say difficult question as well. There is. It's more of an art than science.
Right.
You cannot. I don't believe personally, right, that people can quantify certain success outcome right from the start. But it boils back down to what is that purpose, what is that meaning, and ultimately how these two would then drive the vision, the mission, the value of the company or the thing that you are trying to do. Right? Again, it is you are probably the worst off if you think of something that you are convinced in and you don't act on it. That is the most undesirable outcome. Yes. Right? But where you could have at least a chance of success, no matter how small that could be, is when you even attempt to start on something.
Yes, definitely.
Okay. So, back to your question, the crux here lies in whether you have that courage to start. And that courage to start should come from going back to the fundamental principle of what is that, the purpose, that principle, that the value that you feel that you're bringing to society, right? And ultimately how that translates into, your vision and your mission. That is the most important factor, in my opinion, because in the long run, that is the driving force. That is the fuel. That is the petroleum in the car, right? That will keep it moving on and on and on for a long time.
Sorry, I just wanted to ask, what did you mean when you mentioned the word quantify? Like, you had said something about they are able to quantify. I can't remember.
So what I meant is that it's not like you can put a percentage to it right from the start, on what is the likelihood of you succeeding. So today you think of a crazy idea, right? For example, right, I don't know,
Flying
building a flying car, right? And everyone should be on a flying car, right? What is, if I would ask you, hey Rushil, what is the percentage of you thinking that you will succeed, right? And you ask me the same, and I'll tell you that, look, I wouldn't be able to tell you whether if it's successful or not. But at the end of the day, Rushil, you could tell me, right? What is your belief? How do you think it brings value to society? What is the purpose of you trying to, have this product, right? And using these few factors, qualitative, right? And then you go into how you form the vision and mission of your company. And that is where you can then start something proper. But every time when you hit into a roadblock, right? When you life is not so smooth, right? You always go into issues and so forth. You then always look back on what you're trying to achieve right from the beginning. And that's what I meant by, you cannot really quantify it, but all these things starts to contribute into this outcome, success, in a very qualitative manner.
Yes.
In that sense.
Okay.
Yes.
Now I think I understand that better. So I think what you meant to say was, there is no point thinking of an idea whether it's crazy or not and then not executing it. It's important to just try and do it. And I also believe that, try instead of not trying. Like, how will you know when you have not tried something?
Exactly. Trying on top of that, trying with a firm purpose and belief,
yes,
etc.